Hello everyone and welcome to Site 24/7 webinar series. The topic for today's webinar is the impact of APM tools in DevOps journey.
The agenda for this webinar will be as follows. A quick introduction about Site 24/7, a brief into what DevOps is and its relevance in 2020, a look into why monitoring is important for DevOps and different monitoring capabilities that Site 24/7 offers to DevOps, and finally, a brief introduction about Site 24/7's full stack monitoring capabilities. Before we look at the present scenario of DevOps, let's start with a small introduction into what DevOps is and how it evolved into the current state. To simply put, DevOps is an approach that encourages a positive and productive culture and empowers developers and operators to enable businesses by responding to their needs in near real time and by breaking silos across the organization. DevOps evolved after the increase in prominence of the software industry and the shift it saw from a waterfall model to an agile model. DevOps philosophies are also heavily influenced by the lean principles first made popular by Toyota in the automobile industry. In the coming years, some of the trends to watch out for, which will heavily influence DevOps, are as shown here. The first major trend is the increasing rate at which cloud strategies are being implemented across organizations. DevOps teams across verticals are moving more and more towards the cloud due to the ease at which cloud computing platforms such as AWS, Azure, and GCP help organizations in transforming platforms, functions, and infrastructure into services. This transformation helps DevOps teams in making faster changes in production and improving visibility across different platforms. With AIOps being a buzzword, the rise in AI will also push for a DevOps philosophy in organizations that work with data science. This approach will help data science and development teams gain higher efficiency in development, deployment, and management of AI and ML-driven apps. But this rapid adoption of AI and cloud strategies has not been without hiccups. Breaches such as the one that happened last year with Capital One has once again reiterated the importance of security in today's environment. This is where DevSecOps comes in. Basically, DevSecOps creates awareness about the importance of security within the entire organization and moves the responsibility of data security away from a few security experts to the entire organization. And finally, even though it is comparatively new, serverless computing options such as AWS Lambda and Azure will be the future as they provide organizations with the capability to deploy within milliseconds, allowing developers to get better productivity and enhance its scalability while reducing infrastructure costs and improving user experience. Now that we have seen what the future for DevOps looks like, these are some of the issues that DevOps teams face on a regular basis. So first up is ripple effect. In today's world, an issue or an exception is not caused by a standalone instance, but rather by a cascading effect among the interconnected services in a distributed architecture. This makes identification of the root cause of the issue as early as possible vital. For example, in this diagram that is shown here, you can see that there has been an error in the Java application, which has led to a cascading effect of hurting every single other application in the IT infrastructure. Another common issue that a modern DevOps team could encounter is that of scalability, because something that was working perfectly for a single instance might behave completely differently once your application scales. Tracking the normal behavior of your system and creating a baseline for comparison becomes extremely important in this scenario. Unhandled exceptions are something that every DevOps team needs to be wary about as they cause a huge strain on web servers. Frequent exceptions and errors will affect the performance of the application and negatively influence user experience. Once again, for example, in this diagram, you can see that an exception has been found in one of the applications. But because it was not handled, it has led to an error in another application, which in turn has created a negative effect in the entire web client. The final pain point we will be discussing are version dependencies. With many organizations today deploying microservice applications that are independent in nature, it can be difficult to update one service without breaking another. Most applications these days use version flags to maintain backward compatibility with other services. Tracking the version that needs deprecation and the service that needs upgrading becomes complex with each incremental version update. Now that we have seen the different issues that a DevOps team might face, let's look at how APM can help you in monitoring and managing them. Firstly, using an APM tool, you can drill down and get complete visibility into any issue immediately. You can find where the issue has occurred, be it in a line of code, function, database, or API. Also, with development cycles becoming more and more agile, an APM tool will help you in understanding and comparing your deployments using critical metrics such as AppDex scores, errors encountered, and response time of the application. Also, these tools will continuously keep check on your applications and alert you as and when an issue is detected, or even predict them before occurrence using AI-based monitoring. Some of the handy features that can be found in any APM tool are service maps that give you a complete overview of your application infrastructure along with its dependent resources. Service maps will help you in viewing the status of your application and instances, provide key metrics like response time, throughput, and status of connection, and give you the number of failed request counts. Service maps will also help you by detecting and troubleshooting any application problems before your customers are impacted. The next feature is distributed tracing, which tracks transactions made from one application to another. This enables you to monitor calls made between applications across platforms and narrow down the problem. Next up is custom instrumentation, which will help you in viewing all your methods and frameworks, even if they are not supported out of the box by the APM tool. And finally, abnormality predictions using AI, which will help you not only notify whenever an issue occurs, but will also detect any unusual spikes or aberrations in your application's critical performance attributes and notify you via alerts. Now that we have seen a general overview of the different features that are required in an APM tool, let us look at what Site 24/7 APM provides. Other than the features mentioned in the previous slide, some of the features that Site 24/7 provides are as shown here. Using Site 24/7 APM, you can monitor your entire application stack from URLs to databases. You can also track each and every transaction, exception, or DB operation and get different performance metrics, giving you a deeper understanding of the issue. You can also integrate our APM tool with our real user monitoring tool or RUM to get front-end and back-end visibility at the same time in the same view. And finally, you can get proactive alerts for each issue via different means such as emails, phone calls, or SMS. Site 24/7 APM supports a variety of different platforms. The ones we currently support are Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, and Ruby on Rails. You can monitor applications running on these platforms that are hosted on physical servers, or even if they're hosted on cloud services such as AWS or Azure. Let us now look at how you can install a Site 24/7 agent in your server. To install a Site 24/7 APM agent after logging in, navigate to Admin, Inventory, Add Monitor, APM Insight Application, and select the platform of the application you wish to monitor. Since Site 24/7 APM is an agent-based monitoring service, click on the download button and extract the agent zip file. Once you have done this, copy and paste the license key in the apminsight.conf file during installation. You can also configure your proxy settings here if required. If you wish to install the agent with respect to your application server, such as Tomcat, click on the link given below and follow the steps given in that page. Once you are done installing the agent, your monitor will show in the APM dashboard. Let's look at an example here. Go to APM, select the monitor you want to see. You can either monitor for the entire application, or you can toggle for separate instances. For this example, let us select the entire application. As mentioned earlier, The metrics you can monitor have been shown here in separate tabs. You also have an overview section where you can get a high-level view into the performance of the application with metrics such as response time, AppDex score, throughput, exception count, and error count. You can also navigate to each tab to get more visibility into the application performance. For example, let's move to the transactions tab. Here you can see all the transactions that have taken place in this application in the time period selected, along with their performance metrics. You can also select each individual transaction by clicking on them. So for example, let's select the first one. Then select one of the traces that ran on this transaction. This will give you more clarity into the performance of this transaction by showing you what are the method calls that were made, as well as what were the external calls that were made. Similarly, you can navigate to the service map section to view all the dependent resources to whom calls were made by the application. The nodes marked in red can be identified as down, and those marked in green can be identified as up. You can also toggle between a map view, a graph view, or a tabular view. Here again, you can click on each individual component and drill down further. Other than these, in Site 24/7 APM, you can also set threshold and notification profiles. To do this, click on the hamburger icon shown here, select Edit, click on the pencil icon next to threshold and availability. Here you can see multiple metrics to which you can set the thresholds. So for example, here you can see an 800 millisecond threshold has been set for average response time. This means that whenever the response time will exceed 800 milliseconds, you will immediately be sent an alert. You can also select other metrics by clicking here. So once you're done, click Save. Similarly, click on the pencil icon next to notification profile. Notification profile will help you in determining when an alert should be sent, what the email template of the alert should be, and what the escalation settings for your monitor should be. So for example, here the downtime notification delay has been set as immediately sending an alert whenever there is a failure. Instead, if you want to set the alert to send you only after 2 or 3 continuous failures, you can do that as well. Click Save once this is done, and click Save here. Other than the APM dashboard, in Site 24/7, you can also create a custom dashboard which will give you the option to view only relevant metrics for selected monitors. To do this, click on Home, Dashboards, and Create New. Here, using an intuitive widget-based format, you can drag and drop the performance metrics for the monitors you want. So let's create an example here. So choose Performance Widgets. Let's keep the resource type as monitor. Filter monitors by all monitors. Monitor type is APM Insight. And you can choose the monitors that you want to add. So let's say Java app and Node.js app. Then drag and drop the response time. So as you can see, this has created 2 different widgets which will show you the response time of both these monitors. Once you're done, click Done Customizing. For the sake of our example, I have created another dashboard here. So you click on Home, click Dashboards, and APM Dashboard. As you can see in this example, multiple different metrics of different monitors can be viewed in a single view. You can also share this dashboard by clicking on Share This and selecting the format with which you would like to share it. Other than this, you can also generate performance reports by monitor. To do this, you need to navigate to Reports and select APM reports. For the sake of our example, let's select a report by a selected monitor. So click on Performance Report here and select the monitor you would want. Similar to the previous custom dashboard example, you can share this with your users by clicking on the Share This button and selecting the format with which you would like to share it. Now that we have seen how to set up and monitor using Site 24/7, let us look at some of the numbers that you can see after using Site 24/7 APM. The numbers shown here are based on the results we have seen in our customer accounts. For example, using Site 24/7 APM, the number of remote calls that were made to MySQL, Cassandra, and Redis were identified, and the workflow was optimized to reduce repetition. This, in turn, ensured the improvement in overall application response time from 765 milliseconds to 11 milliseconds. Similarly, with custom instrumentation, it was possible to identify the exact class or method taking more time, and by identifying and optimizing its performance, overall application performance was improved from 1.8 seconds to 537 milliseconds. So thank you all for your time, and please feel free to contact us on any of these email addresses that have been given here. And thank you for your time. We'll be announcing many more webinars like this. So thank you and take care.